The Denver Nuggets just finished off a sweep that sent them to the first NBA Finals in franchise history, and while it's easy to get lost in the greatness of Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray as a duo, the role players supporting those guys have done their jobs as well. None more important than Aaron Gordon, whose play on both ends of the floor has been instrumental in their success. Gordon has spent significant time defending all types of different positions and players throughout this run. He's matched up with guards like Anthony Edwards and Devin Booker, who can create from all three levels, bigger forwards like Kevin Durant and LeBron James, who in their own right play very different styles, and even bigs like Karl Anthony Towns or Anthony Davis, where he's offered legit resistance as a body down low. This is all made possible by his unique physical profile, truly being one of the best athletes in the game. He's got a lengthy 7-foot wingspan, so even when he's beat off the dribble, he can make plays on the ball in rear pursuit. That length really bothered Durant in the second round. He's used to having easy looks over the top of defenders, but Gordon was able to smother his pull-up jumpers. He faces up in isolation, and with Gordon in a low stance, thinks he has a great look, but the contest is perfectly timed and turns into a real difficult shot. Here it is again. KD gets the ball in the paint and quickly turns into one of his signature post fades, but Gordon's length and timing allow him to almost block it. This time it's Devin Booker who tries to create an angle but isn't able to get around him, then attempts an up fake and shoulder bump to generate some space, only to get rejected on the follow-away jumper. This is a good display of Gordon's agility, moving his feet really well laterally to close off driving lanes while altering scoring attempts with that length. He's playing Anthony Edwards with aggressive ball pressure, slides his feet and shifts his momentum to stick with the step back before changing directions to close off the left side, and getting a great contest on the mid-range jumper. Here's another one where Edwards uses his pivot to open up the middle of the floor for a drive, but Gordon cuts him off and uses his core to absorb some added contact, forcing an awkward floater. It's that lower body strength that allows him to match up with bigger creators, stonewalling Anthony Davis as he tries to back him down while still getting a hand up on the jump hook. This also means he's not vulnerable to perimeter players who like to use their shoulders or initiate contact to create added separation, holding his ground as KD throws a bump to the chest straight into a spinning jumper to make it a real difficult look. This time he switches on to Gobert in the pick and roll, and Rudy uses his size to seal deep position, but he fights to make that catch a bit more awkward before going vertical to take away an easy finish. That vertical pop is probably his most famous athletic attribute, but it's not just the height on his jumps that are impressive, but the quickness at which he gets off of 2 feet. Even as he chases LeBron off the three-point line with all of his momentum going towards the basket, he's able to quickly regroup his feet for a short dip and gets up high enough to get a hand on the ball. And this vertical capability, along with that length, enables him to protect the rim at a pretty high level. He's on LeBron as he sets a ball screen, effectively making him the pick and roll big, and slides his feet to force Schroeder into an outside angle before completely obliterating his layup attempt. Denver's out of position, meaning that Jokic has to close out to the perimeter, and when he gets beat off the dribble, Gordon rotates to the front of the rim where he can take off vertically to shut off the paint. This one's just incredible. Gordon traps Devin Booker all the way out on the wing, and when the ball gets swung, the Nuggets are forced into a scramble, with Jokic closing to the corner, Murray taking away the dunker spot, and Gordon flying in from the perimeter to pin a layup off the glass. And his rotations away from the ball are pretty high level, which helps Denver unlock some of those aggressive pick and roll coverages, sliding down to take away Landale on a roll and recovering to the three-point line in a full sprint to contest a spot-up shooter. Here's another one where he rotates to the paint to tag a roller, but when Paul keeps his dribble live, he also has to take away that layup, and after forcing a kickout, he continues to hover around the lane so that he can bait a pass to the corner and take it away. I also think some of the help plays he makes around the nail are huge for this defense. He's stretched to the three-point line by Towns, but still slides into a driving lane and uses his length to strip the ball. His versatility and ability to take on so many different roles defensively allows him to serve as a sort of small ball 5 at times, and the Nuggets have found a ton of success in the non-Jokic minutes by putting out these ultra switchable lineups with Gordon as the key that makes it all work. When KCP gets screened, he can just peel right back because Booker isolating against Gordon isn't an advantage for the offense, which they quickly figure out when he shuts off his attack and forces him into a real tough mid-range jumper. What was once thought of by many as a weakness and potential thing that held the squad from making a run for the championship, their defense has now held up against 3 vastly different opponents with tons of different schemes, and it's all made possible by having a forward who you can deploy in a seemingly endless amount of ways. Through 3 rounds, the Nuggets have held opponents to more than 2 points below their average offensive rating, the mark of a healthy defensive team. But it's their play on the other end of the floor that led to them running through the Western Conference, and Gordon also plays a key role there. Before we get into that though, I want to give a quick shout out to Basketball Index for helping with this analysis. If you're not familiar with the site, they provide tons of statistical measurements, tools, and easily accessible graphics. They also offer various different talent grades, and through their player profiles tab, I can easily compare them to other players around the league. Using Gordon's perimeter defense as an example, on this page I'm presented with various metrics detailing his ability to lock down, along with how he stacks up against his peers. By signing up with the code VENUE30, you can get 30% off your first month subscription, so I'll leave a link in the description below for anyone interested. And with that being said, let's take a look at how Gordon adds value on offense. He's an elite interior finisher, over the past 2 seasons shooting just under 79% at the rim, and while a lot of them are open looks off of dump-offs, he can still score through added contact and over the game's best rim protectors at a high level. There's also a sense of versatility in how he gets these looks. Most commonly, he's hanging around the baseline or in the dunker spot to make helping on Jokic more difficult and finish plays down low. Gobert comes up to the level of the screen in a hedge, and Cat rotates to meet Jokic in the short roll, opening up a lob over the top. As Jokic goes to work in isolation, Towns comes across the lane to double, which leads to a real easy catch and finish for Gordon. In these spots, he's also a threat to get on the offensive glass, to contest the jump hook, leaving him unoccupied as he beats LeBron to the ball for a tip-in. He's grabbing almost 3 offensive rebounds a game in these playoffs, the most of any player that wouldn't traditionally be classified as a big, and that's just another reason why he can't be left unattended down low. The next is his ability to seal deep position as a post-up player. AD closes out to KCP on the perimeter, and LeBron rotates over to switch Jokic's mismatch, leaving Reeves on Gordon as he blocks him off for an easy entry and dunk. You'll see this a lot in transition, getting cross-matched with smaller players and using his size to just abuse them down low. But he also has some legit back-to-the-basket utility in the half court. Denver clears out a side for him to post up Booker, catching and immediately spinning baseline for a wide open dunk. He's got a real high feel for when to seal off his man, how to operate on the baseline to make himself available for dump-offs or lobs, and when to dive at the rim as a cutter from the outside. Here he's initiating a possession from the elbow, and once he gives it up to Jokic, immediately cuts back door for a little give and go. Jokic isolates from an empty side against Hachimura, and AD positions himself to take away an angle to the middle of the floor. But with nobody down low, it's a lob straight into the heart of the defense. The Nuggets like to utilize his cutting and finishing as a weapon in set actions. Murray sets a back screen that catches Towns off guard, and Edwards isn't in position to switch. And that's just automatic offense. This time it's Gordon who's going to set a pin down for Murray to come up and run the 2-man game with Jokic. But he makes a read, and instead of screening, quickly seals off Reeves for an easy entry and finish, plus the foul. He's a huge weapon to have as a screener. Denver loves this inverted pick and roll with him setting one for Jokic because most bigs aren't mobile enough to recover on that lob over the top. and their connection on these plays can't possibly be overstated. Joker's able to pre-place his deliveries because of how quickly Gordon gets downhill and to the ball as a vertical leaper. In those small ball lineups with him at the 5, he'll run pick and roll with Jamal Murray. Minnesota brings 2 to the ball, which opens up the shovel pass, and there's not a wing in the NBA who can rotate over and prevent that dunk from going down. This time he gets the ball in the corner and quickly moves into a dribble handoff to pull AD out of the paint and onto MPJ. And once that switch is made, he gets the ball back against Austin Reaves, putting it down and going right through him en route to a dunk. While most of his finishes are assisted on, he's more than capable of handling the ball and attacking as a slasher like this, again using his body to just move Reaves out of his way to set up a dunk. And his strength doesn't just allow him to punish mismatches, going right into the chest of Landale with a spin as he gathers before taking off vertically to get the ball up over. This time he's met with more aggressive ball pressure from Torrey Craig and gets real low with his pivot to create an angle going at the middle. Then uses his shoulder to bump Craig off his spot while setting up some lengthy strides and goes to a crafty finish around the rim protector. When he sees a matchup that he likes, they'll often clear a side of the floor for him to face up and isolate, showing off some legit ball handling skills to touch the paint and go to that same contact spin move as he finishes at the rim. Denver's constant movement, spacing, and trust in him to create has clearly unlocked areas of his game that have taken him to a new level, and none shine brighter than the leap he's taken as a passer. Gordon's on the ball, with Jokic screening for him, and with a seal on the switch, that creates a small window of opportunity, sneaking a bounce pass right through the gap for a layup. Here he's setting up at the top of the key to run a dribble handoff with Murray, but when the action gets rejected, he makes a real high-level delivery on the cut. His decisions all season have been quick and sharp, catching the ball in the corner and immediately firing it back to Jokic on a give and go, and the placement here is key, hitting the big man high and in stride so that he doesn't have to break his movement to finish. Of course, there are some other things with Gordon that add value, like the fact that he's willing to take open jumpers from both the mid-range and beyond the arc, and how he can hit a few to keep the defense honest, or that he's a lethal weapon in the open floor, getting out off of defensive rebounds and turnovers, where he's a walking highlight reel. But the main thing is his connectivity and ability to finish plays within the flow of the offense, without taking anything off the table, and then that unreal defensive versatility that opens up so much for Denver on the other end, making him one of the game's most valuable role players that has immensely helped the Nuggets on their journey to the NBA Finals. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn my post notifications on to be first on more content. If you're interested in my more in-depth research, make sure to check out my website and social media profiles. You can find those links in the description. Feel free to let me know down in the comments what you think of Aaron Gordon and what your predictions are for the NBA Finals. As always, I hope you all have a great day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.